Hello Steelers, and welcome to this bench report hobby update. I'm very sorry that these have been quite intermittent over the last few weeks, couple of months or so. I've just simply been incredibly busy, not only with work, but obviously with dealing with the house and stuff and just redecorating things. But I keep saying it, but we are pretty close to finishing off various bits of the house now. So that means I've got a bit more room and space in here in the war room to do things. I was also away for work in Cyprus last week, so I was just unable to get anything really done, of course, because I was sweating in the boiling hot heat and going from meeting to meeting for a week or so. So I was unable to do anything then, of course. However, since I've been back and I started these before I went away, I was able to finish these off this week, and this is a platoon of King's African Rifles. These are 15mm figures. Obviously this is for Chain of Command 2. It's a little project that I've kind of had on my mind for a while now. These are particularly interesting set of units, the King's African Rifles. They fought all over the Far East, so that obviously that's the theatre that they're going to be used in. Predominantly black African soldiers, but they were also led by white British officers and in some cases NCOs as well. I've spoken to a guy, John, WWII Games, over on Blue Sky, and he was telling me that he's actually spoken to some ex-members of the KAR, and they said that they were actually led by black NCOs and senior NCOs as well. So I'm not sure where the truth lies. Obviously some units would have been all black, some of the units would have been led by white soldiers as well, or white sergeants and corporals and things. So I've kind of gone for the latter just to make it a little bit more interesting, really. So I just thought that was interesting. These are from Battlefront. There's a couple of extra Peter Pig figures in there and also Eureka figures as well, simply because the Battlefront platoon, it doesn't make an entirely full platoon for Chain of Command 2, or at least the list that I'm using from the Far East handbook anyway, without a bit of fudging. So I've had to add a few bits and pieces in here and there, but minimal costs really, and I'm quite pleased with those. Speaking of the King's African Rifles, I also have as well, came in the post whilst I was away, is a whole load more Peter Pig 14th Army figures, which are going to be the KAR. So these are like support units and things. I'm going to do some jumping off points with the mules. There's a few other bits and pieces in there, like medium machine guns and things that I kind of just want to add in, just to make them a bit more specific for that force in particular. So they're going to get painted over the next few weeks, but that should be a nice, easy enough project to do. And I can then draw from my other area, other figures and things as well to add in more support options for those guys. Also, I met up with Dex last night. I'm recording this on Friday. I met Dex on the Thursday down at Patriot Games. I'll talk more about that in a second. But he passed over a box of oddities from Chris Clark. He'd promised me some 3D printed stuff. I think a lot of this is from, I think it's the Bergman stuff, the Bergman printed things. But there's a whole variety of some of the weird stuff that the Germans were using in Normandy. You know, the reused tanks, the French tanks that they reused and put bigger guns on, and also a couple of defrocked priests as well for the early kangaroos. So a really nice mix of stuff, other bits and pieces in there as well, barricades and things. Thank you massively for that, Chris. Really appreciate it. You know, it's nice to get these things. And also, speaking of Dex as well, he also unloaded a load of stuff onto me as well. So this is some Mardev bits and pieces that he'd got. So there's a coastal battery gun here. There's also some coastal supports as well, barricades for beach defences, to give them their proper name, which we've used in his Morban games before. He had a load of spares, so he gave these over to me. And also a Napoleon coaster as well, a tea coaster. I don't know where he got that from, but it's fantastic, a little Napoleonic eagle on it. So well chuffed for that. Thank you very much for that, Dex. That's really appreciated. So I've hardly spent a penny, but I've got a ton of stuff to paint on top of the other ton of stuff I've got to paint as well. And then speaking of Dex, as I say, last night I met up with him down at Partizan Games in Sheffield, which is a really good games place. Lots of card games going on there, lots of role playing, but there's also a room in the back for wargaming. A lot of it was 40k. I did notice last night there was a couple of lads playing Bolt Action. We were chatting to them for a little bit, but we played a game of Chain of Command 2. This was set in May 1945 during Operation Eclipse, which was basically the Allies, or the paratroopers, British paratroopers, clearing out the last remnants of the German forces in Denmark, and also just securing the Danish area before the Russians got into it and took it over themselves. So really back end, top, last bits of the Reich. It gave me a chance to use my Volksgrenadier forces against Dex's paratroopers, which I think he said he'd not actually had on the table yet. But it was an interesting matchup. Dex was pushing forward on his left flank in the first instance, but then one of my sections appeared with their very heavy firepower of the STG-44s with Storm of Steel bonus, because they are Volksgrenadiers, and they were just battering them and really slowed down his advance, and he was trying very hard to get forward on that flank. I then broke forward on the left flank, pushed forward a jumping off point down to one of the buildings, deployed another section. So I also had my MG42 section and an SGT-44 section on the table at this point, for all of them, and they were laying down some really heavy fire. He then tried to counter-attack on his right flank with another section, but I quickly put paid to them with the MG42s and the Sturmgewehr 44s. Meanwhile, though, it wouldn't last, and on my right flank, my single section down there, very small section with a sniper kicking about in the area, were battered by a couple of his sections. I retreated. I had to fall back because I was so battered, and basically I just dropped my force morale down to 5, which meant that I lost a command dice, which in the game we were playing, which was a patrol, meant that I basically lost the game there and then. Absolutely brilliant game though, really good, and it was just nice to get some of my scenery out on the table, because it's been packed away for so long. It's just nice to actually use it, and again, thanks for the game, Dex. Really good fun, really enjoyed that a lot. Last weekend, you will should have seen it by now, but I did put out a Partizan show report, and I was able to get to Partizan. It was literally the day after I came back from Cyprus. I flew in from Cyprus at 1 o'clock in the morning. Got to the hotel about 2 o'clock. Got up about 8 o'clock. Drove over to Newark from Manchester Airport, and I arrived there for about midday. Thank you to everybody who said hello as I was going around. It's good to see a lot of people. I'll not talk too much about Partizan, but Ken was there from the Yorkshire Gamer, and we did an impromptu Brews in the Vineyard with Rich Clark as well, and Ian McDonald from Flags of War. So that was quite nice. Good to see all those guys and everybody else as well, as I say. Partizan, as always, remains my favourite wargaming show, so I didn't really want to miss it, even though being absolutely knackered from the flight over from Cyprus the night before. But I made it, and I got round. And I got round, I think, about 90% of the tables. By the time I'd got to the back end of it, though, a lot of people were packing up because it was getting close to 4 o'clock. So it was just a case of I didn't get everybody's table in, but I got about 90% of them there. I'll try and do better for the next Partizan show report. As I say, I'm currently recording this on Friday. So that means tomorrow, Saturday, is CrackCon down at Boards and Swords Hobbies. I will probably put up a few photos or a couple of short videos if I get a chance to do some of those. I'll not do a show report or anything, but I will do some photos. So look out for those coming. I'm going down and I'm helping Mark play a game of Through the Mud and the Blood. He has got a big 54mm trench board that he wants to try out. So we're going to be running through that. He's not played Mud and Blood before. I have, obviously. You've seen it on the channel quite a lot. I've not played it for a while, so I'm going to have a quick skim through this later on today. But it's a pretty simple enough game to remember. But I'm looking forward to it. Should be fun. It's always well attended, and it'll be nice to see the guys from the Plastic Crack podcast, if nothing else at least, and just catch up with them. I'm not going to be staying for the curry and the beers afterwards. I'm going to head back home because I do have other domestic things to get on with, as mentioned previously. And then very finally, Paul over at Pursuit put out the final interview with me. We did 3 videos when he came up back in July. And this one was basically about my day job and my archaeological background and work I've done. I will put a link, of course, in the description down below, but go and check that out. It was fun to do, and it may be of interest if you're interested in knowing what I get up to on a day-to-day basis. And that's it. I'll leave it at that. I'll just say, if you are watching this video and you're not subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button. If you do want to help out the channel in any way, all the money that goes back into the channel, it comes from Patreon and from advertising on here. So if you want to check out the Patreon and if you want to check out channel memberships, please feel free to do. There are links down below. It does help out the channel, and it helps keep on the lights here at Steel Towers and me producing more videos for future. And I'll see you in the next Storm of Steel video.